Well, hello, you should be most welcome to GMODISM, and we are in From the Depth and we're building on our battleship. And as you can see, I have been continuing to build on my little battleship here, and I made some problematic realizations. Namely so, let's get it to spawn here. It's namely so that I realized that my missile system is too unreliable. It isn't reliable enough, and it costs too much. It's like 600,000 or something. Like, I don't know. It's not that expensive. It's 200,000 or something. But I think my missile system is too expensive for what it does, because it's not really reliable. So we'll actually have to rebuild this quite a lot. And against our broadsword, we got sent in this beautiful little police ship from Nova Galaxy. And if you haven't watched my, you versus the broadsword video, the first one, please don't listen for a little while, because this is a spoiler what happens. But now I will tell you it, so pause, last warning. The Nova Galaxy's ship, the police ship, one of these shells are armor-piercing EMP. And what they basically did against the broadsword is that they shot through the AI core and like one-shotted the AI. And we can't make that happen. And you can see it, this setup is much better when I have it here. This is a much more protected AI core because I have the rubber layer and stuff like that. But I feel like I should probably have the AI core and stuff like that under the waterline, because having it up here is it's too dangerous. I feel that the hull I have built so far isn't very good. I like the kind of front shape of this thing, but in general, this is not a good hull. Like, it's a little bit sad, but this hull needs to be heavily rebuilt, or maybe even removed. Because first I thought maybe I should keep this ship with this type of missiles, with a torpedo bombardment system. But I kind of realized that it isn't good enough. It's just so unreliable. So we can't really use it. Yeah, so that's basically it. Also, I got a little private tutorial by Iron Fist about CRAM cannons. And he took up two really good points that I'll need to implement to be more cost efficient. And sorry about my voice sounding weird. I've been sounding like this for several days. I don't know if it's some kind of low-keeled cold that doesn't get me sick really, or if it's pollen allergy, or I don't know. In any case, we should be doing that. So, let's remove Nova Galaxy's ship here, and we need to work on some stuff on this thing. So we need to overhaul CRAM cannons. We need to make them more cost efficient. We need to add, we need to rebuild this thing to be better, and we need to move the AI and stuff like that. And I also made just a little hull outline, but that probably will go as well. I'm going to look at this hull and I'm going to see if it's actually a good idea to just remake the entire hull, or if we should, if we can keep some of this. Alright, what's happening here? You can see I've removed a lot of the superstructure that was just too huge. And oh, by the way, these small turrets are a super cheap design I recently made. We'll be looking a little bit more into CRAM turret design later. But anyways, I removed much of the superstructure. I removed these expensive missiles because they are not reliable enough. And I have expanded the AI compartment, removing some of the internal armor for these side compartments. Filled in an AI here, so we have a general nice setup AI with a lot of processing power. And that was cool. You can see our total cost of this ship is now 271,000, so it's really cheap now. But anyways, just to make it sure that it's harder to like one-shot this AI, I added some era armor. And inside this little area, I have also added another extra AI with a basic setup, you know, just like that in a transmitter. And the only thing this does is that if this AI for some reason would be one-shotted by bad luck for us and just be killed, this with like an armor piercing round or something like that, this one would still kind of, you know, be here. Anyways, we'll have some kind of other AA turret, AI as well. Anti-air AI, not really, but a second AI. Because this one, I set it up temporarily to have a slow max time before changing target of 10 seconds and try to target blocks below water. Because I think that perhaps we can do some more damage if we make the slow guns target stuff underwater. And then I had a second AI at another location. And the second AI at another location, it will actually be set up to target random blocks and over water. And that will be for the fast guns that just change targets all the time. And with that we can take out detection and stuff like that. But I think that the slow guns will target, like aim slowly, try to shoot below water and stuff like that. In any case, inside of here I have one missile controller set up for civs. And I have one missile controller set up for normal missiles. So we'll have two types of missiles, some anti-CRAM missiles, anti-missile missiles, and some damage-making missiles. In any case, this entire area shouldn't even be here, so we're actually gonna move it. And in case you don't know how to do this, I'm going to show you how. So we basically just measure this box, so we kind of can fit this inside. Something like that, very nice. Then we'll just click capture the prefab. Very nice. Then we can go down here, turn it around like that. See, both of these sides are equal. So we are wanting the AIs to be in the furthest back, like that. Then we are going to try and find the middle of this thing. Like that, very nice. Oh, such a nice match. And then we're going to up. So we turned it upside down, yeah. Okay, like that. And then we can just paste it in there. Now we have moved the AI to the underside of the ship. Very nice. Then we can go up here and cover this area again, like this. And then we'll just click the scrap button and then we'll click the skull. Poof, all of that is deleted. And that was totally unnecessary because I only put it on a small pillar, like that. Very nice. Anyways, it's hard to see down here, but that's why we set up most of it before. We're just gonna check that it has 500, it has max prio. And this one transmitting on the same channel has low prio. Cool. So we will of course cover this up when we're done, and I know that all the ammo is at the same place, but if we detonate this, only this compartment goes, nothing more. And it's kind of well defended, so yeah. We have divided ammo in two pieces, and if you blow up them, it's fine. They also serve as really good protection. Because imagine someone shoots a super destroying shell on the ammo and it makes the ammo explode. And I don't know if it works like this, but I kind of imagine that the ammo compartment would work as some kind of era armor and just blow up the shell. Maybe it works. If it doesn't, tell me. Alright, so there we are. Now we can fill in this area. Beautiful. Now we have a beautiful canvas to work with. I was kind of a little bit worried that I would have to delete this entire hull. And I probably should do that more often, but I was kind of happy with the front of this, with the small cannon sticking out here, and I know it's kind of useless, but you know, I think it feels cool. So I kind of just like this idea of having this canvas to work with. So yeah, that's basically that. I just like to have this canvas. Yeah, and we're going to make it sloped underneath it to make it, you know, be more flowing more nicely in the water like that. We'll see how we put all this together, if we're gonna do a big thing or if we're gonna do just around this AI compartment area, who knows. There are many things to do, there are many ways to do this, for sure. And we have areas where we can add so much engine power and stuff like that. I think we might have an engine on each side here. I'm wondering if we're gonna go with steam for this thing and regular engines as backup. Well, there is a lot to think about here, but maybe I made 2 steps backwards with removing so much, but I felt it was necessary. Alright, so I'm shaping the hull a little bit here, and I have decided to replace some of the wood with stone. So in an earlier build, a tiny little broadsword ship, no, broadsider ship, like the broadsword, but not the broadsword, it was called, I don't remember, me and Xarwar built it. It was pretty cool, and it had a lot of stone in it, and it was just so damage resilient for the cost with the stone. So I'm kind of experimenting with this stone metal checkerboard pattern, because I usually like the wood metal checkerboard pattern, because the calculations we got from Jono, winner from our LAN tournament, was that the wood and metal checkerboard pattern was very strong, because the I can actually show you like this. Why am I on the bottom here? Anyways, so if we do like this, if we go to, we can actually warp here, and we go to number 8, which is a little thing here. So we can see her armor class, this has 16, this has 41.8, so they only get a boost from like 1 layer behind. You can see it's 8 otherwise, and this is 40. So it turns to 41, this turns to 16, so the wood really gets a good boost. It gets double strength basically from what it normally is. So if you look at one of these wooden blocks, they might be wood, but their armor class is actually double that of a normal block of wood, that stone. But in any case, that was not what I was going to tell you. The wood and metal mix is actually very good, just so you know. It's a very good damage efficient thing. And you can see this has 24 now, this is 41.6, and that's because if we go into, you can see this has a armor class of 16. So it gets a boost with the calculation. If you want to know more, look at our armor instant tutorials. There are 2 of them, 15 minutes each. And basically, this metal stone checkerboard pattern should be a pretty good and cheap version of 2 layers of metal, but cheaper. But anyways, that's up to the test. I backed this wooden outer hull here. If we click P to minimize this, you can see I've basically laced this wooden armor shell on the inside with some stone. And this is because the reason why I have this wooden outer hull is basically to set off the explosion far away from anything that's kind of very important. But since we will be dealing with some really heavy incoming shells, probably CRAM and APS and pack and stuff like that, we want not the entire thing to crumble. We want to have some support, even though it won't be massive. We just want to have something there. So that's why I kind of stone lace these. I imagine that this battleship will mostly face the enemy with its front. But I also want it to... I'm basically thinking that we can set up a bombing run, so it will actually go close to the enemy. And just use the turrets from the different sides to get it to do maximum damage in a shorter amount of time. But I'm imagining that we might face faster targets than us, and we might face We might face faster targets, and we might face targets that want to keep a longer distance. So the idea is that this ship will actually chase the enemy. So it will mostly face it from the front. But we want to have redundant turrets all over the place, so it doesn't matter if we get into close combat. Because I kind of found out, it's a little bit weird, but when I play FPS games and stuff like that, it's only those times when I really get some kind of close combat momentum, and I'm just continuing to do damage. It's like when I, as the character, does not fear for my own life, just get into the combat and just being as brutal as possible. Those are the time when I'm actually performing best. So that probably doesn't translate to From the Depth, but I'm going to pretend it does. And that's why I wanted to not shy away from some close combat. If that makes any sense. Maybe it's just a stupid idea, I don't know. But anyways, just a tiny little bit of connection like that. Okay, that's good. Keep it together. Yeah, so I haven't decided exactly how we'll shape this thing, but as you probably imagine, we'll have a wooden outer shell here backed by stone. Not always though. And in this area outside here, we won't have anything super important, probably some smaller auxiliary turrets. And inside here, this is like a main layer of inside armor. Inside this layer we'll have some important bits, but of course we'll make this a lot stronger. This is just kind of a damage soaking layer. And we are first and foremost looking to build redundant design. Because when fighting CRAMs and big APS, we'll just have to understand that no matter what we do, it is not possible to armor yourself against the strongest shell. The strongest shells will get through no matter what you do. You can have 3 layers of heavy armor. I can design a shell that goes through 3 layers of heavy armor. So you can't armor yourself to protect yourself against any shell. It's not possible. But we can make a redundant design. So okay, you shot through me here, that's fine, because I have a big bulk and didn't hit anything important. Or you got a good hit, you took out my engine, I have 5 more. You shot here, you took out one of the AIs, good, I have a backup. You know, do stuff like that, basically. Alright, so what's happening here? This railgun turret, I just realized I don't like it. I'll make a new one. We're gonna remove it. It will not be on the ship. It's decent kind of enough, but I don't know. I just thought about it and I'm just like, no, I don't want to use that old thing. So here we have one hard point. Here we have another hard point for another turret. So we have 3 little front turrets here. And I imagine we're gonna have one of these a little larger, probably CRAMs in the front here. And I want these to be cheap, so there will be ammunition. No, what is it called? Cannon fodder. Because they're in the front here, they will take some damage. And here I also have hard points for a little 5x5 turret. And here on the sides I decided to make a lot of 3x3 CRAM turrets that are going to be kind of cheap. And they will also serve as a kind of outer layer of armor. And I think beneath these, or in between these, we could probably install stuff like shield projectors and anti-missile missiles, and possibly even missiles to do damage. We'll see. In any case, I thought that it can probably be a good idea to just try around a little bit here on the side here of different types of CRAM cannons that we can make. So I kind of imagine we're gonna have an 8-block high turret, or possibly 9-block high turret. Now I kind of install a little base in here to kind of protect them from EMP, because now we're gonna have a metal layer on top of here too. But let it be there. Let us have 8-block high turrets. Or I can't decide, 8 or 9. In any case, I imagine that we should try out some different CRAM cannon design and just compare them a little bit heads to head. And one of the easiest way to make a CRAM cannon here, now we're 8 blocks high, which means we want to stick up a little bit. Let's make it stick up a bit like that. Have a firing piece there. One of the ways to make it is, of course, to have the packers like, let's see what direction we have them. Alright, like this. So we kind of have one on each of the sides of this pillar. And then on the sides of this pillar, we're basically just going to have pellets like this. And this is a nice way to make a 3x3 CRAM. It's the way I usually make it, but I'm kind of thinking a little bit. Maybe there are kind of cheaper ways we should try out. I did that for the turret, the 3x3 turret that was already installed, to be honest. But I want to kind of show you this, because let's just like compare their powers head to head and see if it's worth it, and the cost, so we can really get an understanding on what to make here. And what I'm basically thinking for this is that instead of a pillar in the middle, we have like 4 pillars here. You can probably see where I'm going this. And in the middle we have pellets like that. So we'll have a fourth of the pellets, but we're going to have some more connections. Let's see here. That's not how to connect them. There we go. Right. We have pellets here, so they all kind of share them. Because as you probably, I don't know if you know this, but you should know this. Otherwise, look at my CRAM cannon tutorials, but they share the connections, right? Now these are connected up a little bit, not optimal, it should be symmetrically, but let's just connect them together like this to get the firing piece on here, so we can get some kind of comparison. Of course, this is a little bit higher, but here we basically have it. So this has a 7 reload. This has a... So it's 28 pellets, it says. This has 56 pellets. Okay, that's kind of interesting, you see. And I'm thinking about some different patterns. I'm gonna see if I can come up with them. And now this is as high, isn't it, in terms of pellets? Yeah. We can probably make the connection under the turret here later on, but now it's just a little bit for testing. Okay, and see if I can come up with a third design of this. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my god, I'm back. So I did mention that I had a private tutorial about CRAM cannons with Iron Fist, and he's a good tournament participator. Basically, he spent a lot of his time in this game. So when I tried to make the optimal CRAM cannon video, not tutorial, video, it was just like cringing a little bit, because even though they were strong, he took up the issue with efficiency, you know. And basically I'm going to do an updated little instant tutorial with CRAMs. That's an add-on to the existing tutorials that will just be some, you know, more advanced tips for more advanced players, so we can make more efficient stuff. And I just realized that, you know, with my APS and my CRAM cannons and all that shit, I think I'm just gonna delete my entire sub-object folders and just make new ones, because I just realized that, damn. I tried some 3D Tetris, and let's look at the stats, shall we? Here we have the normal thing. Here. Okay, let's just do like this. CRAM stats, what do we have? It costs 4,980, so that's basically 5,000 materials, this turret. And it has a number of pellet connections, you can see. it has 56 pellet connections. So if you didn't know this, you probably did, but what matters is the total packer connections, not the amount of pellets. So it has 56 of these. If we go to this thing, it has 28 pellet connections. However, it has a cost of under 2,000. So it's basically 2,000, let's say just 2,000 for simplicity. This is 5,000, this is 2,000, and if we take like 28 times 2, then it's basically 56, right? So this setup is 56, and this setup 28. Like this is a slight bit more efficient. We have, you know, if we double this, we get the same amount of pellets as this has, but this has a cost of 5,000, while this has a cost of 2,000. So 2 of these would cost 4,000, and they would be as powerful as 1 of these. So this is more efficient, but in a larger amount of space, like material-wise. So these are kind of equally good. But here I made a go at 3D Tetris. And you look here, stats, the cost is 4,110. So basically 4,000. It costs 4,000. And how many pellets do we have? 80! We have 80 pellets. I mean, it's not twice as good as this thing, but it kind of almost is twice as good. So, damn, that's pretty interesting. We don't have any change it, so this is a reload of 7, this is a reload of 6, and we should of course make it slower and stuff like that, but just looking at the connections, it has 80 connections. You can see here, I made some really interesting Tetris going on here. So it's kind of a slab right down, and then we have crossbars. And on the crossbars we can have extra packers, and that will add up more connections. So all my 3x3 CRAM cannons, I'll just need to throw them away, because this is obviously the way to go if you want to go more efficient. If you're gonna go really cheap, this is okay for sure, but this is probably more worth it. One thing I'm a little bit conflicting about, and that is which of these turrets we're gonna have at the sides here. Now this one is clearly more powerful, but since it is also more expensive, I mean it's a cheaper, but it's still like it's 4,000 materials, and I'm thinking that probably it's a good idea to at least have 1 layer of metal armor on this thing to armor it up. And this thing is just so much more. This one is just so much more cheap. It's half the cost. And this is definitely more usable like cannon fodder. And this thing isn't really worth armoring up like that. So I don't know, I think I'll make a regular version of this turret, a armored version of this turret, and then I'm gonna make an unarmored just like this version of this turret. And I'm going to try and make it with several barrels as well, because did you know that having more barrels is a little bit more efficient? Because I didn't notice this, but before they can pack, when they fire the shot, they have a 6-second cooldown time, and this was something Iron Fist told me as well. So basically, if you have more barrels, one of the barrels can, you know, if they kind of have a delay between each other, one of them can pack while the other one fires. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but that cooldown, if we have several barrels, this cooldown matters less, because it's like the amount of barrels, they have the same cooldown divided by... I can't explain the math for you very well, but thing is, it's good. Having several barrels is also giving us some redundancy. In case the firing piece gets shot off, we have another firing piece that takes the advantage of the same packers. And this is exactly the thing I'll do with this thing, that we can make them connect up to different packers, and that can be kinda cool, yeah. So basically when one barrel just has its cooldown time, the other one is repacking, packing like that. It's a minor difference, and it's more important in terms of redundancy, but you know, that's basically a thing. And I just kind of realized that I need to make another design. I just got another type of design in my head. So we need to try that out just for comparison, so that I'm not doing something less efficiently than we could do it. So let me just try it out. I want to see its stats, and I'll be back very soon.
In 1%.
Oops, sorry. We also have bad weather here. Anyways, this was the design I kind of thought about. So we have one tube at here, and then we have one tube here. So both of these share the single connection in the middle, and they are shared by this as well. So it's kind of each in the middle gets shared by 4, and these on the sides only get shared by 2, so they're less efficient. But the smart thing with this is that it's very easy to make 2 barrels from this. But just for testing, we're gonna just compare it. And this is 56 hardeners. It has 56 pellets. And that, as you probably remember, is as much as this one. It also has 56. And this one costs 5,000 almost. And this one costs 4,000 almost. So this is 1,000 cheaper in the same exact area with the same exact firepower. So that's probably something to take into account if you want to make, if you don't want to spend too much time and make it really good like CRAM setups. Don't do this. It's shit. Do like this. So pellets in the middle. Let me show you here. Pellets, pellets, pellets. It's like 3 in a row. The pellets won this game. And then we have a connection here and here at the sides, at the corners, and then we have packers that kind of line up. Pretty simple. And this is great for making 2-barrel turrets. So I'll definitely make a 2-barrel turret using this setup. Right, so that's what I wanted to show you. This is obviously like most efficient. We have 80 connections. And so we can round this off to 60, and this is 80, but this is like 4,000, and this is like slightly below 4,000. So it's definitely worth the cost. This is of course good for 2-barrel turrets. This you can only make a 1-barrel turret with. I need to make some calculations and see if it's worth it, this thing. 2,000 materials. I mean, if it would be really long, we could make a 4-barrel turret kind of easily with this, but I'm starting to think that I don't know if this design is worth it. It has to be... I need to think a little bit about this. Well, anyways, I remember when I came up with this design myself, I was thinking I was a real big brain. I was like, I got a nice pattern. Wow, I got so many connections for my pellets. Amazing. This was in 2015 or something, so don't judge me too hard. I was just beginning with the game. But anyways, I'm thinking like this. Why don't we calculate the efficiency of these things? So I'm thinking we're going to divide... let's see here. Should we divide? Let's divide the pellets over the materials. So how much does this cost? We have 56 pellets or pellet connections divided by 4980. My Texas instruments give us a nice value of 0011. Alright. Then we take this one and divide, let's see here. How many packer connections do we have? We got 28, right? Divided by 1965, like that, and we get 0014. Alright. Then we go to my amazing Big Shad 3D Tetris that I just learned a day ago. Here we have 80 packers. Ooh, that's a lot of packers. Divided by, what stats do we have? 4110. And we get 019. Oh yeah, there we go. And here we got this one. and we go... How many Packers? 56, just like the other one. GMODISM, what was that sound? Why are you weird? Divided by 3985. Alright, so we got 14. 0014 on this one too. Well, that's kind of interesting. So, basically, if we're gonna do a little recap, the higher the number is the better, by the way. So this is, I'm just gonna remove some zeros so we get some kind of weird value. So this is 112, right? This is 142, and this one is 194, and this is yeah, okay, interesting. This is 140. So actually this one is slightly less efficient than this one, but it's not the big it's not the big difference. This one is just slightly better than this one. So if you really want to make a sheep turret, this is the way to go, but this seems to be a pretty general good setup. This works, especially for 2-barrel turrets. It's good. This is of course 112, so it's like this is weak compared to the other one. It's like properly weak. This is bad. This is some beta shit turret. Remove this design from all of. If you ever make this, remove it. I'm going to purge my turret folder, just so you know. Okay, so I'm actually kind of surprised that this is pretty efficient in terms of materials. I didn't think it would be that efficient. I thought it would be slightly more efficient than this, but this is properly more efficient. This is great for 2-barrel setup, and this is of course the most compact. We can't make 2 barrels, but considering this costs a little bit more. Ooh, let's see here. This costs 4,000. This costs also 4,000. So they are kind of equally worth to armor up. I can't decide if I'm gonna make an armored version or not. But the thing is, if I wanna put them out here, let's see here. Actually, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You're right. 14 times 2. My Texas Instrument says 28, and I should have known that by head, but whatever. And we divide this by whatever was the lowest cost, basically 2,000. Really? Okay. If I have all these turrets by the lowest costs, all of these turrets will only cost 56,000. So we can properly make this times 2. So we have kind of 112,000, because this is a big turret. I don't think we should save the costs by having cheap turrets here. It's not worth it. Not for the cost we're going with. I'm probably gonna develop a cheap turret using this setup, but yeah, I'm probably gonna make a 2-barrel turret. That's kind of cheap with this. But otherwise, I think I'm gonna go with this one, or possibly this one if I'm gonna have 2 barrels. But honestly, we're gonna have so many shots that's coming out of there, so I think I'm gonna go with a more efficient 1-barrel design here. Even though it's not armored, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So, let's just... This is crap, but let it be there just so we can look at it and learn from our previous mistakes and just say horrible. Anyways, let me tinker around a tiny bit with the turrets and I'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not tell you how long time I spent on making these turrets. I even used 3 mimics on this thing, amazing for me. But I think they kind of look cool now, so let's just check them out a little bit. This thing is 1200 millimeter. It's just a penetrating shell. It just goes straight through. Double barrel. It takes 30 seconds to reload, so kind of slow, but 2 of them. and this system isn't very expensive at all. It's kind of a cheap turret. So that we have there, I kind of think it looks cool, and it's definitely excellent cannon fodder cannon, and will be able to do some serious damage towards, you know, smaller crafts. If we do like this, it's not thump. For this particular cannon, we don't need thump for this, but if we go here, you can see like this, shoot like that, you can see it goes straight through, got through down here a little bit. So we can penetrate a normal armor, probably double metal like that. We can actually try that out a little bit. Let me get down a normal double metal armor here. Just for testing. Beautiful. Okay. And reload the CRAM. Okay, here we go. Now you can see, it can shoot through it, but the shells go through as well, so they can deal some damage with block behind. So that's kind of cool. In any case, then we have this. This is my most, well, the more expensive and more powerful turret. It's a single barrel one. It's the one with my fancy Tetris that was really good. But this is actually a variant of the... I will make another version with more armor. I just couldn't fit it in here, and I kind of made this AA version. So it goes up to 75-degree angle. It's pretty cool. And it is a frag... Let's see here. The frag should be 180. Yeah, it's a frag high explosive shell, and it has laser targeters. So let me just show you the damage to the targets here. Oh no. But that's kind of how it does. It's not super much damage when you shoot it like that, but the thought behind it is basically, if we spawn a duster here, you can see repair, no, not that one, refill CRAM. Did it shoot? Yeah, you can see. Now I have shit detection, so that's why it kind of missed. I can make it shoot. Okay, if I just turn this like that, and that didn't shoot, so now I can aim with it manually. And we can go with it here, and we can see it's altitude fuse, so it's set to detonate in its vicinity. Which will basically shoot off some blocks. Now this is so small, it doesn't hit very well, but whatever. It worked fine against the Felix B. Geiger. There you can see it did get some splitter on it. Would be amazing if those hit. Anyways, let's just remove the enemy so we don't get distracted. But that's this one. I'll make a proper version that's like a pen depth thing instead. But this one is nice. It has redundancy. We have laser targeters and we have double fusing boxes. We also got some, if you go here, we have got some heavy armor to protecting the firing piece, and we got a big chunk of this one, surge protector, up here. So if an EMP shells hit the hull, it will go into that one instead of going all the way down here and frying our all-in-one weapons controller, because I think the 3x3 format is a little bit too small to actually put encased stuff in rubber. Anyways, here I have my nice little mill ground turret, double barrel, has a reload time of 29 right now, and it is a armor piercing frag. And this one has a reloading time of 18, and that's because it's an anti-air one, so we want to shoot it more often. But this one at least does like that, fires frag. If it can't penetrate very far, it will just explode before we kind of do much penetrating. Okay, like that. Now we're with it. But if not, it goes through and it does the detonation outside of it. So it's set, one is set to, let's see here, one is set to like 4 meters and one is set to like 6 meters, and one of them has a wide frag spread, So like, and this one has a narrow one. So one is 90, whilst the one is 15, so we can get some deep and some wide penetration values there. So that's, I think, is a good little amount of 3x3s I put together here. And I'm going to tinker around with making a more heavily armored version of this, but put down in the comments which one of these three, and it will probably not be, or it will maybe be this version of it, the turret actually, because if I put this one version, it will be, yeah, if I'm going to make a new version of this, right, it's gonna be thicker, so it might not fit very well in these like areas, but if I put this turret base down into this well, it will probably be the AA version, right? So any one of these three turrets will be the thing I'll have along the edges of this vehicle. So please put down into the comments which one of these you think I should put there. And yeah, I'll think a little bit about that. And yeah, so let us develop this ship further. So I know we took some steps backwards, but I felt it was really necessary because it was so goddamn weak with my missile. That's really cool, but it doesn't really offer the firepower we need. And of course I made a big ass like wooden slope down here just so that we can protect this little thing inside a huge wooden box, so that we can detonate huge torpedoes and stuff like that we don't have time to shoot down far away from our important main structure. So that's basically that. I hope you enjoyed this little battleship, building a battleship video, and hopefully I'll be seeing you in the next video. And as I said, tell me in the comments which CRAM you think I should use for the along the sides, and we'll be back. This is your host GMODISM, and we're signing out.